third generation.
A little closer to the mic.
And we will need to use the microphones.
So I'm a third generation in my kibbutz. My grandparents.
A little closer.
If you can move a little closer. There you go.
So to start all over again.
Yes.
So third generation. I'm a third generation in my kibbutz. My grandparents came from Poland in 1930 and started it. And my mom was born there, and then so I'm a third generation. And they came from Poland, which is really where the movement of the kibbutzim started. It's there's several of them, but mine was Hashomer HaTza'ir, which is young guard. But that was the name of the movement, and they were coming to Israel to start a whole new and better and just society, like something that, and they took their ideas from the communism from Russia. At that point, everybody thought they're really, good, and nobody knew about those horrible things that's going on. And that's where they kind of saw the opportunity to do something that, everybody's equal, and nobody's poor, nobody's rich, and it's just kind of like perfect and best society ever. And they actually come from religious families, and I think either my grandma or my grandfather's dad, one of them was rabbi. So they're definitely, pretty religious, but they choose to leave religion behind. They choose to leave God behind. They do not want to have anything to do with God, and they really start a society that is based on ideology, or principles, and they have all these training going on in Poland to get themselves ready for that, and to learn how to work the land. And they live in a city. What do they know? And the main thing about that is to work the land. And so they learn all these things, and they what to plant where and how to do it, and the tools you need, and everything else that have to do with just starting a whole new society. And so like I said, they come in 1930. They actually don't start the kibbutz until 38. For 8 years they live in Haifa and just kind of do like city kibbutz. So it's a kibbutz that doesn't have land, and he doesn't, they don't work the land, no agriculture, but they still live by the principles of, everybody shares the money and everybody works together and have, this one goal and everything. So, and then in 38 they get the land, and that's where my kibbutz is. And I'm really sorry I don't have any map of Israel, like a big map to show you where my kibbutz, but Israel is kind of long and skinny, and my kibbutz is fairly at the north part, and Akko is here, Haifa is here, and my kibbutz is right there, so it's kind of on the Mediterranean, and it's called Ein Hamifratz. Mifratz is Gulf, so it's like the eye of the Gulf, because they're right there between Akko and Haifa, so they get that name. And to start the kibbutz, or to start any community, nobody is really allowed to do that, because the British are in control at that point. And they used to kind of be in our favor, or in the Jewish people favor, and then more Jews come to Israel, and they're not happy with it, because the Arabs are not happy with it, and they start to kind of fight, and they start to retaliate, and so we don't have that support from them, and they okay, you cannot just start a community unless it's overnight, and you build a wall, and inside of the wall you build a tower. So they have everything prepared, the day before, and a lot of people, the hundreds of people kind of have everything. And then when the night falls, you know, they take everything to where my kibbutz is, and they build the choma, which is the wall, and they build the tower, which is a migdal, and there you have choma migdal. And in the morning, it's all there, and voila, there's a community. And it's kind of funny. That's the way that 50, I think around 50 kibbutzim started, you know, this way. So it's kind of a, it's kind of a neat thing. But so there was a leeway, you know, you can't do it, but. So we just use that but thing, and we just did that. So, and so the kibbutz is very, you know, so like I said, the idea is to be very just, and like I said, no rich, no poor. Everybody gets, you know, what everybody needs, and everybody, and really the saying, I guess, is everybody takes as much as you need and give as much as you can. And it's beautiful if you think about it, because you know, not everybody is very smart and able to, I don't know, run a factory that makes millions of dollars. But some are doing a great job at cleaning, or at, you know, preparing food, or at, you know, taking care of kids or whatever. And so everybody does what they can, but at the end of the day, we share the money. And so everybody gets the same amount, and it really depends on how many people are in the family. So if one family, it's a budget. So if it's one family, then you get one budget. And if it's, you know, two people, you get, you know, a little bit more. And if it's, you know, if you have kids, a little bit more. So, but really, you don't need any of that money, really, because the kibbutz takes care of you, like totally, you know, from top to bottom. You don't need to worry. I mean, they give you clothes, they give you food, they give you shelter, they give you education, they give you health. I mean, everything that anybody needs at any given point. And the most interesting thing I think about the kibbutz, well, one thing I will mention is that it started very, you know, more extreme, I guess. And so we share everything. So the first kid that was born, not the parents called his name, but the kibbutz. Oh. So everybody came together and they voted for the name of the first kid in the kibbutz. He was the only one, though. The next kid, I think the parents were. But it was really interesting how things started really, you know, much, you know, more like strict and kind of, and then they kind of went down, because it's not, it's a democracy, you know, it's not a, you know, you're not there to suffer. It's you know, what works for people. And so like my mom, when my mom was a little kid in the kibbutz, so we don't, the kids don't live with their parents. So we don't go to our parents at, you know, in the afternoon and then stay with them over the night or overnight. We go, we visit, and then we go back to the kids' house. And then there's a kid's house, and I, you know, never lived with my parents. Like I never slept with them in the same house. And in the kids' house have, you know, rooms, and like 5 rooms, and there's like 3 kids in each room or something. And then, and you know, so it's long hallway with all the rooms, and then there's a class, and then there's a you know, bathroom, and a little dining room where they prepare food and all. And so we go at 4. We leave for afternoon. We come to our parents. We say hi. We, you know, eat dinner with them and run around to play with our friends. And then we come back to the kids' house at 8. And now, when I was a kid, my parents came and put me in bed, and you know, my dad put my blanket on the radiator and made sure it's nice and warm, and then put it on me, and it was all fun. My mom, on the other hand, it was still more strict, and she only had 2 hours with her parents, and the parents couldn't even come to the kids' house. They had to bring her to the door, and the nanny took her from the door into the house. So it's very interesting how things kind of like, you know, went easier with time, with years. Let's see. So one of the things that they do is to make sure that you don't need to work other than what you need to do, like other than the service that you need to do in the kibbutz or the job that you have in the, you know, in the kibbutz. You don't need to do anything like in the house. So there's laundry, you know, they'll do your laundry, they'll iron your clothes, they'll fold it, they'll have it in a place there where you get them, and then you just get them, and so you don't need to do anything. And then there's a dining room. It's a big dining room. It's really big, and you know, you have all the kibbutz. My kibbutz is 800 people, so everybody can fit there, and everybody comes to eat their, you know, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And someone is in the kitchen preparing the food, and you know, you come and you eat or not. Yeah, you definitely come. And but yeah, everything is there. You don't need to do. There's no like housework that you need to do. So it's kind of like clearing your time. And so it's the same with kids. You don't need to worry about your kids. You know, your kids will come and say hi, but then in the night, you know, you're free to sleep, to nap, whatever you know you want to do. And so it's and so for the kids, we had like a little intercom in the wall, and there were like two people that would sit like there was a guy and usually a woman and a man, and they would sit in a little house somewhere and would have an intercom to all the kids' house. And if I got sick or if I, you know, I do remember one time that I was sleeping in my little bed, and this girl from the next room, she got up, and her bed was positioned the same way mine, and so she got up and she went to use the bathroom. When she came back, she was so sleepy that she went to my room, and she went to my bed. And I'm like, what? Move! And I didn't know what to do, and it didn't occur to me that I can maybe go to sleep in her bed instead. And so I just went to the intercom, and I called, you know, you say, שומרת לילה, בואי לקבוצת רעים. The שומרת לילה, the guard, you know, night guard. לילה is night. So night guard, please come to קבוצת רעים. My group was called רעים. And so you call her to, you know, to where you are. And so I remember this guy came and he just, you know, pulled her up and threw her in her bed. I had my bed to myself. But it's, you know, this, depending who you ask, but my take on it was just fine. You know, I had no problem with it. I had no problem with, you know, not sitting with my parents. In fact, I remember one time that my mom came, because they could come and say hi or good night or whatever. And so my mom came and she was sitting next to me and she was like, I'll stay with you until you fall asleep. And I'm like, I can't fall asleep when you're here. It's too weird. It's just, I just wasn't used to it. So I think that part, you know, not having your kids with you is probably the most, I don't know, different than other societies. Let's see. So, yeah, so, I mean, I'll let you ask questions because I'm kind of, I wrote us a few things and I'm basically, I think I told you what I wanted to. But really have to work. It can only work if everybody, and I mean everybody, have conscience and really want this to work out and really willing to give as much as they can and just take as much as they need. Nowadays, it's a little opposite. You know, now they want to take as much as they can and just give as little as they have to, and it's sad. And in my case, in my kibbutz, for example, really it's not a kibbutz anymore. I mean, it's still a community. Everybody still lives together in the same land and in the same house and everything. But you know, we don't share the money anymore, and so everybody makes whatever they make, and you know, it's what it is. And so it's sad, but the society was built with such a passion, you know, for this ideology that, you know, my grandparents never thought that there's a need for, I don't know, a police or someone that would kind of make sure that things are working out the way they should. And so there isn't anybody. Nobody's going to come to you and say, hey, get up, you need to go to work. You need to, you know, you need to do it. And if you're choosing not to, your job is not going to be done, and it's going to spoil for everybody else. So, yeah. So it really is. You know, you really cannot. It cannot work if not everybody is, you know, on one page, and not everybody is really willing to put the effort there and you know, do what is necessary. So, shall we start with questions or yeah?
Directly translated, what does the word kibbutz translate?
Kibbutz is a group, and kibbutz is to gather people together. So when people come together and they want to share something.
Community?
Well, the direct thing is a group for kibbutz. For kibbutz come from kibutza. Kibutza is a group, so it's a group of people. But yeah, it is it's a commune or community
It's a
or
cooperative, isn't it?
yeah.
Not today.
But it's I guess it's not a communism, because I think communism is dictatorship, isn't it? I'm pretty sure. And pure socialism, yeah.
Now Marx wrote a book, and it is not a dictatorship. They made it a dictatorship.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But it's not.
Exactly. And that's where my grandparents took the idea of, them and all their friends. Yeah.
I have two questions. One, say I wanted to join a kibbutz. Is there like an initiation, or do you sign a waiver, or
You want to join the kibbutz?
are there like a dues? Do you have to pay to get in, or do you have to know somebody, or how would you go about getting into
So
it?
if you choose, if you were born in a kibbutz and you really like it and you want to join, you put your name there, and there's a group of people that will decide if they want you or not. And then if they choose that, then you come to the kibbutz and you try to live there. And you're not a member right away. Then you live, I think it's like 2 years of process.
So a trial period?
Yeah, exactly. And then after 2 years, they'll vote, and see if they want you there. And then I can't remember many votes that they say no. So usually, so usually it's a yes, and then you're a member. But it takes,
Okay, and the other thing I wanted to ask was, if it's 800 members strong, where do people go for their medical and dental care? Do they go on the outside?
No, we
Or
have, everything is in the kibbutz.
There's a dental
Clinic
clinic
in the
within
kibbutz.
the kibbutz itself?
Yep, and there's a doctor, usually they're from outside of the kibbutz, but they were in the clinic, and now they've changed it a little bit, so now you have to go just a bit outside of the kibbutz. There's my kibbutz and another kibbutz, and they just to reduce the cost, so they're kind of sharing it, and the clinic is in the middle, so you need to go just a little further. But it's,
So are there numerous kibbutzes that are all coordinated, so people can get specialty care, things like that?
Well, each kibbutz has its own thing, but in my case, right next to my kibbutz there's another one. My kibbutz Ein Hamifratz, that one is Florence, and there's not even half a mile between us. I mean, there's really, and so. And usually, each one keeps to himself. But this kind of was something that they thought that it would be a good idea to share and have it together. And so, the cost is kind of
Are there meetings that occur where jobs change among people? Or does someone, do the cooking forever and always because they're a good cook? I mean, do jobs rotate?
Yes. You kind of choose what you want to do. And if you like to milk the cows, then that's what you're going to do, and you're better at that. And then the kibbutz also would send you for education. So I went, the kibbutz paid for my BA in human services. And back then, they also wanted to tell you what you should go to school for. But generally, they will, you choose, and they'll say, yeah, we need that, no, we don't, and then you go from there. But but they pay for everything. I mean, this is part of taking care of everyone. And so so you change. If you want to get stuck there, you get stuck there. But if you want to go somewhere else, you're like, okay, where else? I don't want to be there anymore. Where else,
Do they have like planning committees that say we need this, these jobs done and these other, areas need people to work and,
There's a, there's a body, there's a group that, kind of, there's several groups and each one have their own thing that they do, so one of them, take care of that and kind of see, okay, what do we need someone, and, it may need a one-person thing, but, yeah.
How does the kibbutz generate income in order to pay for these things? You're saying they pay for everything, like your education and so on.
So it started as agriculture, place which I didn't mention so the idea was to work the land and to have a piece of land that everybody worked together and kind of, live from it. And pretty soon it was clear that they can't make a living from it. And so all the kibbutzim, and I didn't mention that also, there's 250 kibbutzim all over Israel. So there's spread all over. And basically all of them had to take in a factory, some kind of factory, just to kind of generate more income. My kibbutz does cardboard boxes, those that goes like an S thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we do boxes for whatever, and so that's, and we have a really, really high work moral, or because it's a kibbutz, and you really need to do what what you're there for, because you're part of this community, and so our factory was very successful and generated probably several millions a year. So it was, it was a good, thing.
I'm next.
Ooh.
Liat, you said that the kibbutz would send the young people off to university to study. Did they have to make some kind of commitment to come back and work for a certain number of years?
No.
And if not, then what percentage of the kids would go off and do something else and not return to the kibbutz?
Half.
Half.
Yep. What they do is they want you to work, I can't remember right now, I think it's like 100 days during the year? I think so. Something like that, 90 days or something, 80, sorry?
While you're studying, you have to...
Yeah, so, like on Friday, I did, I had my schedule, so I was in university from, we start our week on Sunday, by the way. So I was in the university from Sunday to Thursday, and then Friday I worked in the kibbutz. And so it only takes like one day a week to really pretty much cover what you need. And then I had some small something else. So yeah, it's, as long as you give, there's a certain number of hours. So I'm saying 100, and I can't even remember if it was 100 days or 100 hours. But it's something that you need to give to the kibbutz, and that's your payment. That's your payment. Yeah.
I'm curious, in Israel, what is the divorce rate in kibbutz as opposed to the general population? Do you know?
I actually don't, but I'm pretty sure it's very similar. And the kibbutz is very easy to get divorced in because you don't need, you're taken care of. So the kibbutz would give you another house if you chose that you don't want to live with that guy anymore. And you'll have a job and you'll have an income. So there's no economical issues. There's no financial issues. So it's much easier, and so it happens. I think, but it's the same kind of rate. I think. Don't take my word for it. But yeah.
Can you go back because you were born there? Can you go back at any time?
Yeah. Although they'll vote for me. If I leave the kibbutz and I want to come back, they'll vote if they want me back.
Okay.
Most of the chances that they will take me, I only heard of one person that they didn't. So it's really rare. Like if you're born there, your family is there. It's really. But yeah, they'll still vote for you. Yeah.
How long has this been going on?
My kibbutz?
The idea of kibbutz?
Well, my kibbutz started in 38, so it lasted like 70 years.
So your family, yes? Your family came over and started that. So it's your family that started that. How long has kibbutzing been going on?
I think the first kibbutz started 1925, I think. So it's somewhere in between 25 and then, that they still have.
In America, or no, in Israel?
In Israel, in Israel. Yes, I'm not talking about America at all. Yeah.
Did you start one here?
No. You don't want me to? Very small one. Yes.
What about infants? When a person gives birth, how long does the infant live with the parents, if at all, and how does that work?
No, they're in the kid's house right away.
Okay.
They just call the. I don't know how they did it back then. I guess intercom again, but the mothers had a. No, they couldn't have it. I don't think, how did they do it? But maybe they just had an hour, and the mom just came, at this hour and at this hour and this hour to feed the baby. If they, if the children, and so yeah, and the rest there was nannies, and the smaller the kids, the more nannies, I guess. And so there's only when you're just a baby, there's only 6, and there's 2 nannies with you at all times. So it's it works. That's what okay. I think I'm done.
Wow,
Yeah,
that is fascinating.
Here's another question.
Yeah. If 2 people have a dispute and they talk to each other and favor each other, is there somebody that actually could judge?
Is there a judge?
How do they settle disputes?
Mediator?
No, well, there's the secretary of the kibbutz. If it's really bad, you can go to them and they will try to. But it's a small community, so you really can't do that. It just doesn't work out. You have to be able to. You have to be sociable, and you have to be able to live with other people, and you have to learn that it's a skill. And you either have it or you don't. And then if you don't, you're probably going to not stay with people. When you do, you will. So it's, I'm trying to think if I remember of any fight that happened. I don't. I mean, and so I'm thinking, it's not that everybody is perfect, of course, but you solve it, you find a way to solve it. Like I said, the kibbutz does have a secretary, and there's a group that you can come to, and they will make some decisions and such, but it's generally personal things just solved,
I like that.